And you get to them, and I was always impressed, and they were so metallic and shiny, and I always wanted to touch them because I seriously thought that they were made out of metal. And then, of course, you'd get to the wall, Ras Muhammad, a reef that was teeming with tiny little red anthias and these electric blue little fish, and corals of, you can't even imagine the colors, the whites, the orange, the pinks, the purples, the hues. It was a feast for the eyes, a technicolor kaleidoscope that you can't even imagine. Well, sadly, in 1997, in November, I believe it was November 7th, there was that Queen Hatshepsut Palace massacre. Anybody remember that? Yeah, Casey. Horrible, horrible. To give you a perspective, it was the worst calamity that ever happened to Switzerland. 30 of their tourists were killed at that palace, maybe more. And it's still a national tragedy for them. After that, tourism died. So before you knew it, I was like a wooden coin. I was back in Los Angeles. Super psyched, of course, to be in Los Angeles. You know, no trevally, no barracudas, no sharks, no corals. But we have one thing here that we didn't have in the Sinai, and that's Hollywood. Okay, so I decided I'm going to use Hollywood, I'm going to leverage Hollywood to try to do something with my diving career so then I can travel the world again. So one night, I sat down and I started writing out my dreams. What is it that I really wanted to do? Where did I want to go? And what did I want to be doing? And I wanted to just dive with sharks. See, as much as I love the trevally, my favorite fish on the planet is the shark. I am so excited and I love sharks, and when I see a shark, I want to grab it and run to it and kiss it, press it, hold it. And I've done all that. I've done some crazy stuff. That's for another night. But I decided to write all of my dreams down, and then I put it into a form of an outline. And I sent it to production companies all over Los Angeles. Now you would think that they'd all be calling me up, right? No, they didn't. But I didn't let my limiting belief that you need to know people in Hollywood to make it, because that's what everybody was telling me, right? But I kept on persevering, just as great advice you gave us. And I didn't let that stop me. So finally, one producer, she answers the phone, she says, Ascanio, I've never heard such enthusiasm and energy from somebody, because I don't know what you're talking about, but I want to meet with you. So of course I went into the office that day, and luckily I had just written an article for a diving magazine. I had all that footage that I shot from the Red Sea, and I was extremely confident. I was so jubilant and excited to be there. And she was sitting there, and I was telling all these stories, and she was just looking at me and nodding her head, and I don't think she understood a single thing I said. But then she blurted out, she goes, "Oh, okay, fine, I want to buy it." And I was just like, what? I couldn't believe it. And of course, what do I tell her? Like any good Hollywood player, I'm like, I gotta think about this. I've got options. So I took it home, of course, and then I agreed, I signed it, got it back to her. She goes and sells this to the Travel Channel. Then she calls me, she says, Ascanio, you're not gonna believe it. I got you a deal. You're doing 4 shows. You're gonna travel the world, and you're gonna live your dreams. Ladies and gentlemen, confidence, enthusiasm, and energy are the 3 leadership traits that I urge you all to consider incorporating more into your lives. Now, I would like to basically talk about how we can create a shift, because if confidence and energy and enthusiasm are not present in your lives, when success is about to happen for you, then that success is going to be almost impossible. Thinking back to your stories, to your moments, to your greatest successes that you envision, how confident were you? How excited were you? How much energy and enthusiasm was present for you? And who were you being? Now, as a leadership coach, this is what I do. This is what we do with clients. I mean, it's always about shifting their perspectives. Because as Craig said, right, he had the perspective. How do I make $1 million? Well, sometimes you need to shift the perspective to start looking outside the box and seeing how You can get to that. So the first thing you want to do is you want to challenge those limiting beliefs. I call it the liar inside. L stands for limiting belief. I stands for the interpretations. Every single thing we do as human beings is an interpretation of an event, or circumstance, or relationship. A is for assumptions. Because something happened in the past, it means it's going to happen again in the future. That's how we're programmed, right? It helped us survive when we were cavemen. But nowadays, we don't always need to let those assumptions hold us back, because usually that's what they do. And the R for the liar inside us, all that is holding us back from being successful, is the rogue inner critic. You all know that little voice inside your head that says you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you don't have enough experience enough, you haven't failed enough times at the Speakers Bureau auditions to be qualified yet. But guess what? We all have those little thoughts. But yet, if we start challenging them and start shifting the perspective and start asking, what is another way of looking at it? At this situation, you'll find a new way of looking at it. It's like Michael Jordan. You could probably get it done in a slam dunk 30 different ways if you wanted to. He has a different perspective than we do, and that is what allows him to have the success that he has. One of my two favorite questions, besides what's another way of looking at it, that can really help unlock anything in your life when it comes to doing anything, and especially if it comes to getting stopped, or if you want that major breakthrough, ask yourself, what's the worst thing that can happen? When you seriously ask that question, and I know for a lot of us coming to the Speakers Bureau and auditioning, you can consider that, what's the worst that can happen? And I'll tell you what the worst is. You get to come here again and deliver another great speech and become a better speaker. So some of the greatest successes have come out of the greatest failures. And I don't really call them failures. They might be setbacks. They're learning opportunities. And like Edison, 10,000 light bulbs, times he tried to create a light bulb before it actually worked. And people couldn't believe it. 10,000 times. What a loser. I mean, shouldn't he have given up after the third time? And he's like, no, I just realized I just discovered 10,000 different ways to not create the light bulb. The second aspect, to really take your leadership and blow it out of the water, is to not focus on what's not in your control. This is so key. Because how many of us, when we're going to do so, even speaking is perfect, we don't think about our speech or what we're going to say or how we're showing up or who we're being. We think about what is the audience going to be thinking, right, Greg? What are the circumstances? What if I don't pass? What is that going to mean? What if I fail again? What are people going to say? What's it going to look like on Facebook? If everybody's posting like, oh, you guys do great, and then you don't pass. It doesn't really matter. Always focus on the process, not the outcome. Finally, I want to urge you all to consider the art of visualization. Anybody know visualization? Awesome. This is probably the most powerful tool you can incorporate in your arsenal, your leadership arsenal, to really allow yourself to show up more confident, more enthusiastic, more energetic in the future. Nothing can stop you if you really powerfully visualize in every single sports Olympic athlete, every single rock climber, every single Olympian, Winter Olympian, when they're doing their dances and practices on ice, they routinely visualize themselves on the big stage with a huge lights in the arena as if it was there. And when you visualize, don't just think about it like, oh, I'm going to be something, but go to the place, come to the Speakers Bureau, get inside here, smell. What does it smell like? What does it feel like? What does a carpet underneath your shoes feel like? What does it sound like in here? And when you start visualizing when you're up next, when you have to perform again, you visualize with all of your senses, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, everything. what it feels like just and how you're being. And visualize the experience of yourself just more confident, because if you can incorporate how you are going to feel, you will feel that at that time. Biggest breakthrough for me was when I first started speaking. I was a wreck, and I really didn't like it. It was the most uncomfortable thing that I could possibly think, and I've done a lot of crazy stuff, but this was the craziest thing. Speaking in front of a group of people, I hated it. But how I overcame it was, again, by shifting that perspective. And asking myself, well, what's a fun way to look at this thing? And how can I incorporate the confidence and the energy and the enthusiasm that I learned from the greatest success of my life, how can I incorporate it into my speaking? And that became a natural fit. So, before we wrap things up, I'd like to ask you guys, what were the 3 key traits to leadership? Real quick, without looking down at your papers, see who's paying attention. Oh my God, Patty! Congratulations. And the 3 things that each and every one of you can do from here on out to take your leadership to the next level would be visualize what? Awesome. Visualize your success. Okay. Anybody else and Patty want to say the other 2? Is it?
Enthusiasm?
Yeah, that was one of the key traits.
Focus on the process.
Yes, focus on the process, not the outcome. Awesome, beautiful, great job. And the 3rd one?
Control what you can.
Exactly. Look at what you can control, not what's outside your control. And challenging and shifting your perspective. Challenging the liar. And the liar is what? L for? Limiting beliefs. I for?
Interpretation.
A for?
Assumptions.
And R for the? Great. You guys are amazing. Give yourselves a hand. Wow. You guys are great. And if, ladies and gentlemen, if you can focus on those 3 things, shifting, keeping your focus, watching what's in control, and visualizing success, you will have more confidence, more enthusiasm, and more energy than you will ever need. And you will be able to do anything, including diving with sharks. Madam Toastmaster.
The qualified speakers to give Ascanio our evaluation. Yes.
Thank you, Ascanio, for your enthusiasm and your excitement, the confidence and your energy. Learning opportunities, I love that. Learning opportunities rather than setbacks. Everything was fantastic, very well done. What I'd like you to do is don't confuse states of being with traits, leadership traits. And you have to be, state of being is confidence, enthusiasm, and energy. That's a state of being versus the leadership traits, which is focus on the process, control what you can, visualize
Did
it.
you write that down?
Yes, I did.
Thank you. Awesome.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Chun. That was beautiful.
Anyone else? Yes. All right.
Scotty, I love the passion, the enthusiasm. You definitely keep us all awake and with you throughout your whole speech. What I suggest is watching the hand chatter. A lot of hand chatter. Just keep those arms down by your side, and when there's something really important that you want to emphasize, then bring them up and bring them up big. Touching yourself. See, I just know this because I was a gymnast, and every time you touch yourself, you got it. So watch touching yourself. Just keep your hands down there again. But fantastic, and really enjoyed your speech.
Yes.
You have a lot of important things to say, and I love the way you say them with enthusiasm. You're easy to hear, but could you please slow down? It's really hard to pick things up when you go through them so fast. You might even ask us to write this down, just so that you teach yourself to be slower and more exact.
Thanks.
Crafted, but the one thing that stuck with me is that you actually had the guts to use the word badass at a speakers bureau meeting. that you got from one of our speakers tonight. I encourage you to share that with them afterwards. We learned about how to handle our limiting beliefs. We also learned to stand up to fight for our lives and to break through our limits to live our dreams. Let's one more time for all our speakers.
That Rona and I are here to support you, and one of the things that we've asked you for is the one-sheeter, which is basically touting what it is you specialize in and what the advantage is in working with you. So we've asked you for that. Let's give a challenge, see if you can get those completed and into us by April the 15th.
Okay.
Okay? I also want to mention that we have a dignitary visiting us tonight. As we all know, we're under the auspices of District 1. And District 1 has always been a supporter of the Speakers Bureau and the membership. And I'd like to welcome Marlo Wilkerson, He is a staunch supporter of ours as well, as Regina Rogers. Are there any announcements?
Maurice Domino will be speaking. Thank you, Mr. Co-Chair. I'm the president of Professional Business Boosters, where qualified speakers are allowed to come. People like Helena, Hiba, you're all welcome to come, Casey, to come and do a 30-minute workshop with our members who are mostly entrepreneurs and just boost them up with Ascanio's enthusiasm and energy and excitement. So this April 3rd Thursday, first and third Thursdays, just twice a month, is Maurice Domino going to talk again. So those who missed him, you must come. He is really wonderful. Creating your $1 million message.
What time?
7 p.m. to 8:30. Go to meetup.com and you'll find us.
Also, I'd like also to make an announcement myself. Coach Masters, we just got chartered. Thank you. Several of you, you've all been so instrumental, supportive. I know he was one of our members, and we are honored, and we love phenomenal speakers. There's so much talent, so much potential with our club, but we really need some great speakers to come in. And if you're looking to help out a little bit, we have our contest on Tuesday. I know we're going at light speed, but we're actually looking to be in the B3 contest as well. So those of you, please reach out. If you're coaches, I know, Jeff, you're also a coach, and Casey, please, we would love to have you guys. And anybody else, if you're a speaker here, please, you're super invited. Come anytime. And if it's somewhat coaching related, and it can be always about speaking, how to improve your speaking for coaches, that works too. So again, thank you all. I hope to see you soon.
The Los Angeles Professional Speakers Club provides the opportunity to give 20-minute speeches on a regular basis, if you are a member. But if you'd like to be our guest speaker, we give one freebie speech per guest. So please come and see me if you want details. We meet on the first, third, and fifth Thursday of the month from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And many of our members are qualified, like Casey Converse, Carol Jacobi, and many others. Thank you.
Before we close, I just want to reiterate one more time that Rona and I have a vision that we're going to compile a portfolio of all of our speakers and their talents, and that's what we'll use to promote you out in the community. We're starting to get requests in now, and we know that you're qualified. We just need to show it.
Thank you.
Jeff?
Next month's educational speaker.
Pardon me?
Next month's educational speaker
Yeah,
Is that a question?
yeah.
will be Melody Kima. She's gonna be sharing what she learned from Johnny Carson and Elvis,
Super.
with whom she both worked,
Good.
and how that affected her stage skills for presentations and how that's worked in the public speaking.
Good. Thank you. April the 15th is the deadline for our one-sheeter, okay? Get that to Rona. Yes, Rona.
No, I just wanted, if anybody else didn't hand these in, and I hope that they're all signed, because if they are not signed, I cannot count them. And this happens every single month. Someone inevitably forgets to sign them. So I hope you sign them.
So thank you for your participation. Thank you for our guests. Good night.
Thank you.
The whole thing?
I will.
No, myself. Well, I did. I mean, I do speak a lot, you know, but I thought I would maybe.
What's your subject? What do you Really? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, how else are we gonna know what your expertise as far as she's told her story. We have balance. I thought, I had to be
Just my hair. I straighten it. Like a tiger.
You know, I would love to do that. I want to be prepared and I want to do a good job and I want to pass. And I haven't had the time to invest in it. But I'm working on some good things in my personal life, my professional life, outside of professional life. And I think it's going to work together to get qualified and help me reach those goals that I'm doing professionally. I absolutely will. I would love to. I'm so excited to be here. It's wonderful to be here. Yep. That's fantastic, and I love having that one sheet. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Did you email them? I'll have to look back through my email. But I'm on your email list, I heard about tonight. Okay, great.
Can you open up my email? Ask me.